says, "Oh ayyuhal Amir, we are the Ahlul Bayt of the Prophet. We are the place of prophethood. We are the place where the Malaika come and visit us on a daily basis. With us Allah began this world, and with us Allah will end this world. And on the other side, Rajulun Fasiq, Yazid is an open sinner. He is a Sharibul Khamr, a one that drinks alcohol. He is one that kills innocent individuals. Mithli la yubayu mithlah. A person like me will never give bay'ah to a person like him." MashaAllah, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Al-Ali al-Azim. Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakeel. Ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri. Wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي جعل الحمد مفتاحا لذكره وسببا للمزيد من فضله ودليلا على آلائه وعظمته. ثم الصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على النبي الأمي المكي المدني الهاشمي الذي سمي في السماوات بأحمد وفي الأراضين بأبي القاسم محمد. وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين ورحمة الله على محبيهم ومواليهم وشيعتهم أجمعين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم وقتلتهم وغاصب حقوقهم ومنكري فضائلهم ملعونين. أما بعد، قال المعصوم عليه السلام: ألا وإن سنة قد أميتت وإن البدعة قد أحييت إن تطيعوا أمري وتسمعوا قولي أهدكم سبيل الرشاد. For the happiness of Hazrat Zahra Marzia, for the enlightenment of the graves of your marhumin, of the graves of the shuhada, ulama and siddiqeen, for the safety of the followers of Ahlul Bayt around the world, and for the safety and the hastening of the reappearance of Hazrat Baqiyatullah al-A'zam arwahun al-fida, please recite your loudest salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, forgive our sins. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive the sins of our parents. Oh Allah, those of our parents that are alive, give them long lives. Those of our parents that have left this world, give them a place next to Ali Muhammad in Jannah. Oh Allah, those who are ill, give them shafa'ah. Those who are in debt, clear their debts. Ya Allah, give safety and victory to the people of Palestine. Ya Allah, destroy every oppressor wherever in the world he may be. Ya Allah, give us life to see the victory of every oppressed over their oppressor. Ya Allah, keep our ulama and our maraja at the head of our institutions and give them long and healthy lives. Ya Allah, hasten the reappearance of the Imam of our time and allow us to be amongst his true muntadhareen, his true waiters, for the acceptance of these du'as and any other du'as that you brothers and sisters have brought. Please recite another of your loudest salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
किबला एक मोमन है तौकीर अब्बास के नाम से वो फालिज की अर्ज़ में मुब्तला है, उसके लिए दुआ फरमाइए।
Inshallah, inshallah. For all those that are ill and specifically this mu'min Tawqir Abbas, please join me in reciting Amma Yujibu 3 times. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Amma yujibu al-mudtarra idha da'a wa yakshifu as-su'. Amma yujibu al-mudtarra idha da'a wa yakshifu as-su'. أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعا ويكشف السوء الصلوات. All praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who is Rahman and the one who is Rahim. Once again, it's an honor to be back here amongst you all in, I think, my first lecture back in England after being away for so many months, living in Canada now. And alhamdulillah, it's here in Husseiniya, Birmingham, a place which is very dear to my heart. And I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always keeps you all safe, and this idara becomes the beacon of the message of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. When we look at the saga of Karbala, arguably this whole story begins from Rajab, when Muawiyah alayhi al-Hawiya is killed, or he dies and enters into the hellfire. He sends a letter before he dies, he sends it to Yazid. And he says that when you come into this position, I would advise you to go and get bay'ah from a number of people, but don't go to 3 people for bay'ah. First is Abdullah ibn Umar, Abdullah ibn Zubayr, and the third is Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. Says leave these 3 people. When Yazid Mal'un reaches power, the first thing that he does is he sends a letter to Medina to Walid ibn Utbah. He says, leave every single person. I want you to go and get hold of Abdullah ibn Umar, Abdullah ibn Zubayr, and Abi Abdullah al-Hussein, and demand bay'ah from them. Walid ibn Utbah, he doesn't know what to do, so he calls upon the former governor of Medina, Marwan ibn Hakam Mal'un. He brings Marwan, he says, look, this is the letter that has come from Yazid, and it is asking me to get the bay'ah from these individuals. What should I do? Marwan ibn Hakam says to him, in regards to Abdullah ibn Umar, don't worry about him. He'll give bay'ah to whoever is in power, and he will go with the flow. And this is how you see in his time, when Imam Hussein goes to visit Abdullah ibn Umar, he says, why don't you just give bay'ah to Yazid? It's okay, let it be the case, it's fine, don't cause discord. And then, he goes himself, he rushes to give Yazid bay'ah, and then whoever else comes subsequently afterwards, to the extent that when Hajjaj ibn Yusuf al-Thaqafi Mal'un comes to power, Abdullah ibn Umar rushes in the middle of the night to go and give his bay'ah. Hajjaj is asleep in his bed, they wake him up, they say, Abdullah ibn Umar, the son of the second Khalifa, has come to meet you. Says, what is it that he wants? Says, he wants to give you bay'ah. So he says, okay, bring him in. So they bring him in, and he says, oh Hajjaj, I wish to give you bay'ah to the Khalifa, and you will be my representative for it. Hajjaj says to him, look, I'm tired, I can't be bothered to get out of bed. He sticks his foot out. He says, give bay'ah on my foot. So this is what this sort of individual was, and Marwan knew. And he said, leave him. Abdullah ibn Zubayr and Abi Abdullah, these 2 individuals, you need to summon them straight away. And if they refuse to give bay'ah, then cut off their heads. So a messenger goes to Abdullah ibn Zubayr, and a messenger goes to Abu Abdullah. When Imam al-Hussein receives the letter that he's been summoned to Dar al-Imara, he prepares himself, he recites a 2 rak'ah salah, and he prepares 30 of the youth of Bani Hashim to go with him. Abdullah ibn Zubayr, he sees this letter, he runs away. Overnight, he leaves Medina, he goes and he hides out in Mecca. They try to find him, they can't find him. Coming back to Abu Abdullah, so he comes to Dar al-Imara, he says, what is it that you have summoned me for? They said, look, this is the letter that has come from Yazid. At this point, the death of Muawiyah was not known to the people. Imam Hussein looks at it and says, Zahiran, Muawiyah has died. And then he looks at what is requested from Walid ibn Utbah. The Imam says, Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi rajiun wa ala al-Islamu salam. Says that now this is salam to Islam. If someone like Yazid has been brought into power, Then he says, what is your intention to Walid? Walid says that we want you to come and give bay'ah. The Imam says, I'm sure you don't want me to come in the middle of the night in secret and give bay'ah. Surely it would work better for you if I was to come during the day where all the people are there, when everyone is en masse giving bay'ah, and I give my opinion on the matter then. Walid says, this is a piece of advice. Yes, I agree with you. So you can return home with safety. As Abu Abdullah turns to leave, Marwan says to Walid, he says, don't let Hussein leave. He says, if he leaves now, you won't ever get hold of him until a lot of blood has been shed. Tell him to give bay'ah now or you will cut off his head. At that moment, Abi Abdullah turns to Marwan. He says, Yabna Zarqa, says, oh son of Zarqa, will you kill me or will he? Then he turns to Walid ibn Utbah, أيها الأمير نحن أهل بيت النبوة وموضع الرسالة ومختلف الملائكة بنا فتح الله وبنا ختم الله. Says, oh أيها الأمير, we are the Ahlul Bayt of the Prophet. We are the place of prophethood. We are the place where the Malaika come and visit us on a daily basis. With us Allah began this world, and with us Allah will end this world. And on the other side, Rajulun Fasiq, Yazid is an open sinner. He is a Sharibul Khamr, a one that drinks alcohol. He is one that kills innocent individuals. Mithli la yubayu'a mithlah. A person like me will never give bay'ah to a person like him. At that point, when he raises his voice, Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas kicks open the door of Darul Imara. They see Abbas, and they say, why is it Abbas entered with such force? Because he was showing, we are not stopped because of fear. We are stopped because of the command of our master. Abbas alayhi salam enters, the youth of Bani Hashim enter. Walid ibn Utbah, seeing this, he tells Abi Abdullah, you leave, go. And so Imam al-Hussein leaves. And it is at that point that he makes the intention to leave Medina and head towards Mecca. In this period, now Abu Abdullah begins to send out letters to the various places. Kufa has already sent someone towards him to tell him to come to Kufa. But at that point, there is a letter which I recited the full letter for you in the khutbah at the start. Imam al-Hussein, he sends a letter to the people of Basra where he highlights his intention and highlights the reason for why this society has fallen so low that it is okay with having someone like Yazid in power. He writes to the heads of Basra. At that time, Ibn Ziyad Mal'un is still in Basra. So Imam, he writes to the Ru'asa, the heads of the tribes of Basra. Says, from Hussein ibn Ali to the tribes, to the heads of the tribes of Basra. Ala wa inna sunnata qad umitat wa inna al-bid'ata qad uhyiyat. Says, you should know that the sunnah of the Prophet has been killed. Wa inna al-bid'ata qad uhyiyat. And bid'ah, innovation, has been given life in this society. Says this is the reason why this society is in the situation that it is in, because no one is following the sunnah of the Prophet. They have killed that sunnah, and they have given life to innovation in this society. But then the Imam gives a solution. Says, in tuti'u amri wa tasma'u qawli ahdikum sabil al-rashad. Says that if you listen to what I have to say and you obey my commands, I, Hussein, will take you to rushd, to success. He gives it to his companion Sulaiman and sends him to Basra. When Sulaiman ibn Abi Razin reaches Basra, he gives this to the ru'asa of the heads of Basra, and they sell him out to Ibn Ziyad. Seeing that he's being captured by the soldiers, Sulaiman quickly eats the letter that Imam al-Hussein sent to him. When he's taken in front of Ibn Ziyad says to him that what was the contents of the letter? He says, I don't know. I ate it, I'm not going to tell you. In the end, there's a long conversation that happens with them. And Ibn Ziyad says, I'll let you survive. Go up on the minbar and curse Abi Abdullah and Ahlul Bayt. Sulaiman goes on there, he sits on the minbar and he begins to praise Imam al-Hussein and curse Yazid and curse Ibn Ziyad. At that moment, Ibn Ziyad takes him to the roof of the Darul Imara of the palace, severs his head and throws his body from the top of Darul Imara. This letter is so important because it sets out the criteria for what causes a Karbala to happen. What causes a community to fall so low that they are willing to follow someone like Yazid, and then one step further are willing to massacre the grandson of the Holy Prophet. The Ayyam of Muharram are coming. They are on our doorsteps. It's the time of the year that we eagerly await every single year. It is for the followers of Ahlul Bayt a renewal of their vow to the Imam. It is a renewal of their spirituality. And there is a very specific rizq that is open for you in the first 10 nights of the holy month of Muharram. The Urafah, the awliya, they say that there is a bab of rizq that opens in these ayyamullah. And every year it is different. And so you must utilize those first 10 nights to be able to gain something from those days. It's not just tradition. It's not just culture. There is much more here. There is a ma'rifah, there is something hidden, a sir that is hidden in the 10 nights of Muharram that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is swearing by them, wal fajr wa layalin ashr, and by the dawn and by those 10 nights. There is something that is hidden. And so one must gain from it. Because when you gain from it, and then you mourn, when you gain ma'rifah of it, then you mourn, then your maqam is much higher. من بكى على الحسين عارفا بحقه وجبت له الجنة. You cry, you do buka over Abu Abdullah, understanding his right, wajibat lahul jannah, jannah becomes wajib upon you. But what is understanding his right? It is to know what Hussein ibn Ali alayhi salam wanted from us. That I live my life like Hussein alayhi salam wanted. And that was to gain Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Where he says in Dua Arafah, in Yawm al-Arafah, you would have recited the Dua of Abu Abdullah. You look at it, pages after pages, the Imam is doing praise after praise after praise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I thank you, Allah, for the bone in my ear that allows me to hear. I thank you for my eyes that are able to see. I thank you for my nose. I thank you for my lips. I thank you for my tongue. 12 pages of just thanks. Then the first dua that Abu Abdullah asks from Allah is what? Allahumma ja'alni akhshaka ka'anni arak. My Lord, allow me to have the fear in my heart as if I am seeing you myself. What is my connection with Allah? The month of Muharram is about connecting to Allah. That is the ultimate aim of the human being. That is the purpose of creation. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya Ahmed, kuntu kanzan makhfiya, fahbabtu an u'raf. Says, I was a hidden treasure, I desired to be known. فَخَلَقْتُ الْخَلْقَ لِكَيْ أُعْرَفْ. And so I created mankind so that they may come to know me. The ma'rifah of Allah is the purpose of your creation, but you cannot gain the ma'rifah of Allah without Ali Muhammad. They are the only ones that can teach you of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are the only ones that can take you to that path, the path of success. You look at those that were successful, look at those that were unsuccessful when it comes to Abu Abdullah. There were many there in the whole saga of Karbala. You look at each of those individuals that was with Abu Abdullah. It's about taking use of the opportunity. Amir al-Mu'mineen says, وَالْفُرَسَةُ تَمَرُّ مَرَّ السَّحَابِ. Says, opportunity are like clouds. Grab hold of them before they pass you by. And I'm telling you, the first 10 nights of Muharram for you are an opportunity. Grab hold of those 10 nights. Use them to ascend. Because they will pass you by, and before you know it, it will be Rabi' al-Awwal. And we will have mourned and we will have left all of that behind. In the first 10 nights, gain that ma'rifah. Ask from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give you that rizq that is available. Why did Karbala happen? Because the sunnah of Rasulullah was killed. How much of the sunnah of the Prophet do I have in my life? Or is it that I think the sunnah is for the Sunnis? The sunnah is for us as well. It says the sunnah has been killed. وَإِنَّ الْبِدْعَةَ قَدْ أُحْيِيَتْ. And bid'ah has become rife in this society. Innovation, how much innovation has come? How much things that were not there at the time of the Ahlul Bayt have we introduced and made them part and parcel of the deen? And if we don't do them, then we have a riot on our hands. And you can think of examples yourself. I'm not going to give you any. But you can think of those examples yourself. What it is that has been innovated. What it is that needs to be purified from innovation. Because it is the purification of the deen, of your understanding of the deen, that will take you towards rushd. It is only when you have a pure understanding of the deen that you can have a pure understanding of who Ali Muhammad are. Otherwise, just from outside, just having ishq is not enough. Tarimma was a lover of Abi Abdullah, a lover of Imam Hussein. He was a sha'ir of Abi Abdullah. He was one that would recite poetry. Whenever he would see the Imam, he would recite poetry, he would praise the Imam. He comes to Abu Abdullah as Imam al-Hussein is on the way, leaving Mecca, coming towards Kufa. He meets Imam along the way. Ya Ibn Rasulillah, where are you going? He says, towards Kufa. He says, Ya Ibn Rasulillah, Hur has already met Imam al-Hussein at this point and he's guiding the Imam alongside. Tarimma comes, has 7 or 8 people with him. Say, Ya Rasulullah, why don't you come to where I live? There's a place, you'll be safe there and the army won't be able to reach you in that area. The Imam says, no, this is our aim and we will carry on and see where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has for us. Says, Ya Rasulullah, I want to join you. Imam says, come, join me. The 7 or 8 people that were with Tarimma joined Abu Abdullah. Tarimma says, Ya Rasulullah, I'll be back. I just need to go and sort some affairs out for my family. I'm just going to sort them out and I'm going to come back to you straight away. I'm going to come back to you straight away. Imam says, that's fine, but Tarimma, hurry. Let it not be the case that something happens and you miss this opportunity. Tarimma goes, returns back to Karbala. 10th of Muharram, Asr Ashur. Abu Abdullah's head is already on the pole. Ishq is not enough. Love is not enough. It requires action. Not later, but there and then. Not that tomorrow I will change, tomorrow I will adjust my life, tomorrow I will bring my life in line with what the Imams want for me. It must be done now at this moment, because opportunities pass by and you won't gain those opportunities. Tarimman never reached Shahadat, but to those that were with him that stayed reached. There are many others, some that joined Imam Hussein from the start. Karbala is for everyone. Princes and paupers, all are welcome on the boat of Abi Abdullah. Princes were there in Karbala as well. Nasr ibn Abi Nazar ibn Najashi. Nasr, the son of Abi Nazar, the son of Najashi, the king of Ethiopia. When the Muslims returned back from Ethiopia to Medina to the Prophet, a short while later Abi Nazar, the son of Najashi, also comes to Medina. He visits the Holy Prophet there, and then he becomes a follower and a Muslim. He says, I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. During that time that he's in Medina, Najashi dies. The people of Ethiopia send a delegation and they come to him, Abi Nazar, come back towards Ethiopia. The throne is waiting for you. Abi Nazar says, now that I have found this place, I want no throne, no kingdom, nothing. This is more than any kingdom. This wilayah that you have is priceless. It's greater than any kingdom. Abi Nazar has a son, Nasr. Nasr is a follower of Amir al-Mu'mineen, a follower of Imam al-Hasan, a follower of Imam al-Hussein, lives with Abi Abdullah, nearby Abi Abdullah in Medina. When Imam al-Hussein makes the intention to leave, he joins Imam al-Hussein from Medina, and the whole journey until the day of Ashura. Opportunity, it arose. He grabbed hold of that opportunity and he went along. But there were many in Medina that didn't have that opportunity. They didn't take that opportunity. Even from the family of the Imam. People like Muhammad Hanafiya, people like Abdullah ibn Ja'far. So they didn't join Abi Abdullah. We're not saying they're good or bad and what they did was wrong. No, I'm saying the opportunity for shahadat. But they didn't join Imam al-Hussein. There are many people like this. Many people who joined Imam al-Hussein later on. Many that were in the army of Umar ibn Sa'ad and then they came to Imam al-Hussein. Yazid ibn Ziyad al-Muhasir is the name of one of the companions of the Imam, famous by the name of Abu Sha'tha. Abu Sha'tha is the best friend of Hurr ibn Yazid al-Riyahi. When Abi Abdullah is captured by Hurr, surrounded, and he's been taken, Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, Abu Sha'tha reads the letter that Hurr has received from Umar ibn Sa'ad, that do not let Hussein go. If it is required, then cut off his head. Abu Sha'tha reads it, says, Hurr, what are we doing? Now we're ready to kill him? Before it was just to surround him, to hold him in place. Now you're willing to kill him. Hurr says, this is the command. Imam al-Hussein gives a khutbah. Abu Sha'tha at that moment says to Hurr, I can't stay. He leaves and he joins Imam al-Hussein. It took her another 5 or 6 days to reach that realization. And this is why it's so important to have right friends. The correct friends, those friends that have the ma'rifah. Abu Sha'tha's going across also influenced her. Friends are extremely important. Karbala, amongst the shuhada, you have those that were very close friends with each other. Abbas ibn Shabib Shakiri and Shozab. Shozab is the slave of the father of Abbas ibn Shabib Shakiri. But they were around the same age. So they ended up becoming the closest of friends. They join Abu Abdullah and they reach Karbala. Abbas comes to Shozab. He says, Shozab, after Imam al-Hussein's khutbah, he says, what is your intention? What is your niyyah? Abbas says to Shozab, he says, Shahadat. Abi Abdullah is winning and he wants to go this way. So Abbas asks Shozab, what is your intention? He says, I will never leave Abi Abdullah. I'll also give my life for him. Abbas says to him, Shozab, then do me a favor. Says, what is it? Says, tomorrow I want you to go out first and be killed. Says, why? Abbas says, Shozab, I have nobody else in Karbala. You are the closest thing to me. You are my best friend. I have no others. Others have sons, others have brothers, others have relatives that are here, and they are giving them for Abu Abdullah. Says, I don't have anything. Shozab, you are the dearest thing to me. I want you to go out and I want you to be the shaheed on my behalf. I want to witness your shahadat in front of my own eyes so I can feel that pain as well and be happy that I gave my best friend in the way of Abu Abdullah. Shozab goes out, his shahadat happens, Abbas watches. Then Abbas ibn Shabib al-Shakiri himself goes out. But Abbas's shahadat didn't happen with swords or spears. No. Abbas went out. He removes his helmet. He takes off his armor. He throws it aside. And he comes. He says, come fight me. I require no sword. I require no armor. I require no helmet. Hubb al-Hussein ajannani. Says, the love of Hussein has driven me mad. Because they said to him that you've gone mad. Umar ibn Sa'ad's army said, he said, Hubb al-Hussein ajinnani. Says, the love of Hussein has driven me mad. He comes out. Umar ibn Sa'ad says, no one go near him. Hada Asadul Aswad. This is the black lion or the lion of the lions. No one go near him. They say, what do we do? He says, stone him. So they stoned Abbas ibn Shabib al-Shakiri from afar. And the shahadat of Abbas happens like this. Each of these individuals that grabbed hold of that opportunity that they were given, you look at the level of their ma'rifah that they have for the Imam. You look at Abu Sha'tha himself. When he comes, he fights on his horse. The horse is injured, he's thrown to the ground. He comes running back to Abu Abdullah. Says, Yabna Rasulillah, I have 100 arrows. Allow me to sit in front of you and fire them. Abu Abdullah says, fire. He stands there and he fires. Imam al-Hussein raises his hand, says, Allahumma saddad ramaytah. Oh Allah, make his arrows accurate. Abu Sha'tha fires 100 arrows and 100 of them hit, killing 100 individuals. And then he says, Yabna Rasulillah, my arrows are finished. Will you give me permission now that I go out and fight hand to hand? Imam says, go. Abu Sha'tha goes out. and he's martyred there. So many individuals, so many stories. How different individuals that came to Imam Hussein through great difficulty. Through great difficulty. The moment Muslim ibn Aqil was caught, Kufa went under martial law. There were spies in every single house in Kufa. Nobody knew who to trust. But there were people like Mujamma ibn A'izi or A'iz ibn Mujamma ibn A'izi and his son A'iz ibn al-Mujamma. They come to Karbala through difficulty with 5 other individuals. And they come and they meet Abu Abdullah through secret routes. And you have other individuals, people like Mas'ud ibn Hajjaj and his son Abdul Rahman ibn Mas'ud. They come to Abu Abdullah. 50-year-old Mas'ud ibn Hajjaj says to his son that his son is 20, says, Abu Abdullah is stuck in Karbala. Spies are everywhere. How shall we reach him? What shall we do? His son says, Father, I don't know. You know better. He thinks for a little while and then he says, let us join the army of Umar ibn Sa'ad. That's the only way out of Kufa. So they go and they sign up for the army of Umar ibn Sa'ad. On Shab-e Ashur, they defect and they come to Abu Abdullah. Look at the planning, look at the desire. When one wants to do something for the sake of their Imam, they will find a way. When one wants to go and defend the way of their Imam, they will find a way. So many of these individuals, and I could spend the whole night here telling you different stories of individuals that came and joined Abu Abdullah. These 72 individuals, from the children right the way through to the adults, to those that were seniors, 70 years old, 80 years old, that came and joined the Imam. One of the individuals, he comes to the Imam. Imam reaches Karbala, he's already there. Imam sets up his tent, he comes to the Imam. Says, Ya ibn Rasulillah, I heard 50 years ago when you were born, your grandfather Rasulullah held you in his hands and he said, this son of mine will be killed in a land called Karbala. Says, Ya ibn Rasulillah, that moment I left Medina and I found this land. And I have been camped out here for 50 years waiting for your arrival. He's so old, his eyebrows have fallen over his eyes, his back has been bent. Day of Ashura, he places a spear. He says, tie me to a spear so that I can stand straight. Tie a bandana over my eyes, over my eyebrows so that I can see. Tie the sword to my hand so it doesn't fall. And he goes out and he fights for Abu Abdullah. Individuals like this that were there, that were willing to give for the sake of Imam al-Hussein. MashaAllah. 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 Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Each of these individuals is a gem. Each of them. Do you want to look at Ali Muhammad? You look at non-Ali Muhammad. You know, there's one individual whom we don't really mention. Muslim ibn Aqil had 5 children. And his wife, Ruqayya bint Amir al-Mu'mineen, was in Karbala. Of the 5 children of Muslim ibn Aqil, you hear about the 2. that were killed 1 year later in Kufa by Harith Mal'un. Then there would remain 3. And you hear about Hamida, the 4-year-old daughter of Muslim, that when the news of the Shahadat of Muslim comes, Abu Abdullah takes her, places her in his lap, and he runs her hand, and she says that you're acting with me in the way that they act with the orphans. Imam Hussein says, I will be your father from now. This Hamida, she didn't live long after that. Sham-e Ghariban, when the tents were being looted, many children were trampled under the hooves of the horses. From amongst one of them was this daughter of Muslim ibn Aqil, Hamida. Remained were 2 of his sons. The one that I will mention today, Abdullah ibn Muslim ibn Aqil. Shab-e Ashur, when Qasim ibn al-Hasan is speaking with Abu Abdullah, they're both the same age, 13 years old. When he's speaking with Imam al-Hussein, and Qasim says, Ahla min al-asal, Abdullah ibn Muslim, he hears this. All day, the next day, all he's saying, Al-Maut ahla min al-asal, Al-Maut ahla min al-asal. Until he comes from Bani Hashim, the household of Aqil were the first to go out and fight. This child of Muslim ibn Aqil, 13 years old, he goes out and he fights on the day of Ashura. He goes out, he introduces himself, he fights bravely. 13 years old. Until they say some earth went into his eyes. He lifted up his shirt to wipe it, and they saw his chest, so they fired an arrow into his chest. And as before that, as he was placing his hand over his forehead, they fired an arrow through his hand into his forehead, pinning his hand to his head. Then they came and they fired an arrow into his heart, and his shahadat happened like this. There are so many individuals. Whose stories can I tell you of those that took opportunities? Amr ibn al-Junada is one of the individuals, Abdullah ibn Junada is one of the individuals in Ziyarat al-Nahiya that Imam al-Zaman, he gives salam to. Says, As-salamu ala Abdullah ibn Junada wa ibnihi. Salam upon Abdullah ibn Junada and his son. Who is his son? Amr ibn al-Junada. 11 years old. Abdullah ibn Junada has been killed. Amr ibn al-Junada, at the age of 11, he comes and stands in front of Imam al-Hussein. Ya ibn Rasulillah, give me permission to go out and fight. Imam looks at him, says, my son, your mother is alone. His mother was there as well. He says, your mother is alone. Your father has already given his life in our way. Go be with your mother. Says, Ya ibn Rasulillah, my mother is the one that has sent me to you. My mother is the one that has sent me to you. Imam says, if that is the case, go. Go, I give you permission. Now look at the ma'rifah of this child. That he goes out, every shaheed went out, they introduced themselves. Habib went out, he says, Ana Habib wa Abi Mudahhar. I am Habib and my father was Mudahhar. But this young man, he goes out, doesn't introduce himself. Instead he rides out, Amiri Husaynun wa ni'mal Amir. You want to know who I am? Forget who I am. This is what it means to go towards success. This is what it means to be lost in your Imam. Says, Amiri Husaynun wa ni'mal Amir. If you want to know who I am, then know that Hussein is my master, and what a great master. Sururu Fuad al-Bashir al-Nadir. He is the peace of the heart of the Prophet of God. Aliyun wa Fatima walida. And if you want to know who Hussein is, his mother and father are Ali and Fatima. وَهَلْ تَعْلَمُونَ لَهُ بِالنَّذِيرِ. What greater virtue is there than this? Amr ibn al-Junada fights for a short while, they kill him. But he is of the few shuhada in Karbala whose head was cut off there and then. They cut his head from his body. His mother is watching. They take the head of Amr ibn al-Junada and they throw it to his mother. His mother picks up the head, Ahlan bika ya Noora Aini. She kisses it and she throws it back. What we give in the way of Hussein, we do not take back. Each of these individuals in Karbala were unique. Who do we speak about? Each of them were unique. But the greatest of all of them is one shaheed that on the day of judgment they say this shaheed is that shaheed that every shaheed in the world will do ghibta towards him. They will say, we wish we were at the level of Abbas. Today you will raise the parcham of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, the raya, the alam of Abbas alayhi salam. That flag that Abbas did not allow to fall upon the earth for one moment until he had given everything. You hear that Abbas is qati' al-kaffain, that his arms were cut. But in our reliable maqatil, let me tell you, the legs of Abbas were also cut. Abbas alayhi salam, when he comes to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein on the day of Ashura, everyone is gone. Hussein is alone. Says, Yabna Rasulillah, give me permission to go out and fight. Imam al-Hussein looks at him, Abbas, Anta sahibu liwa'i, Anta kabshu katibati. Abbas, you are my flag bearer. You are the commander of my army. How can I let you go out? He says, Yabna Rasulillah, give me permission. Abbas didn't say anything that where is that army, but the tears that fell from the eyes of Abbas cried out to that fact. It was either that or the cries of the children calling out Al-Atash, Al-Atash. You know, from the 7th night the water was cut, and so the children began crying Al-Atash. On the 7th night, Imam sent Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas and Nafi' bin Hilal to go and fight and try and bring some water from the Furat. When Nafi' reaches, there's someone at the banks of the Furat. Says, who is it? Says, I'm Nafi' bin Hilal. Says, Nafi', what are you here to do? He says, I'm here to bring water for the children of Abi Abdullah. Can you not hear them crying, Al-Atash, Al-Atash? He says, Nafi', you come drink as much as you want, but not a drop will reach the lips of the children of Hussein. The thirst was so intense by the day of Ashura that these children were now, wherever in the tents there was, where the water bags used to be, the earth was a little wet. So the children of Abi Abdullah would go lift up their shirts and lie on the wet earth to try and find some sort of peace. Abbas is unable to take this. The cry of Al-Atash comes. Imam looks at him, says, Abbas, if you need to go, then go and bring water for the children. Let's go together. Both brothers mount upon the horse. They begin riding out, fighting their way to the banks of the Furat. Umar ibn Sa'd realizes, if Hussein and Abbas are together, no one will be able to defeat them. Drive a wedge between them. They drive a wedge of the army between them. They turn Abi Abdullah back to the tents, and Abbas alayhi salam makes his way to the Furat. He reaches the banks of the Furat. You hear Abbas steps into the cool waters of the Furat. He picks up the water. He looks at it. Says, Ya nafs min ba'd al-Husayn huli. Says, oh nafs, when you drink the water, what pleasure is there left in this world after Abi Abdullah? Will you drink this water while your master drinks the syrup of death? He throws the water away. Abbas alayhi salam fills the bag of water. He makes his way. You hear as he rides through the date palms, one man hiding behind the date palm severs the right arm of Abbas. He calls out, Wallah in kata'tumu yamini. Inni uhami abadan an dini. Says, by Allah, even if you cut off my right arm, I will never stop defending the religion of Allah. He holds on to the alam, the bag of water, with his left arm, and now Abbas rides forward again, and again a man strikes his left arm. The left arm is severed of Al-Abbas. He says, Ya nafs, la takshal kuffar. Oh nafs, don't be afraid of the people. You focus on Allah, you focus on your aim. Abbas rides towards the tent. Harmala says, I realized where the heart of Abbas was. I took aim. I fired an arrow into the bag of water. The water spilled onto the ground. As the water fell, فَوَقَفَ الْعَبَّاسِ. Abbas stopped his horse. At that moment, Umar ibn Sa'ad orders 4,000 archers to fire towards Abbas alayhi salam. The sky is darkened with the arrows. Abbas's body is struck with the arrows. An arrow goes through the eye of Abbas. Abbas leans down to remove the arrow with his knees. At that moment, a man comes. He strikes the head of Abbas with an iron bar. As Abbas begins to fall to the ground, he calls out, Ya akhi, adrik akhak. Oh brother, come to the aid of your brother. At that point, Abu Abdullah cries out, says, Zainab, they've killed my brother Abbas. He rushes to the body of Abbas. When Hussein alayhi salam reaches Abbas's body, do you know what it says in the maqtal? Abbas was surrounded from all four sides, and men had swords in their hands. They were striking the body of Abbas. Imam al-Hussein reaches the body of Abbas, but what is it that he sees in front of him? They were around Abbas from all four sides. Abu Abdullah chases them away, says, where are you running? You killed my brother. Where do you run? He comes to the body of Abbas. One line from the maqtal, and the masiba ends here. It says, فَقَطَّعُوهُ بِسَيُوفِهِمْ إِرْبًا إِرْبًا. They cut the body of Abbas with their swords to pieces. Martin Hussein.